January 25th, welcome back to Edgework. I'm Zack Phillips, joined here today by So Money as well as Rusty Bill. Going to break down the 9 NHL games ahead of us tonight, give out our best bets for those, as well as answer some questions for the chat. So if you guys do have those, please send them along. Do a little recap of yesterday, Joey Puck's debut on the Edgework show. But before we can get into all of that, I do want to remind people that today's show, as always, is sponsored by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp to help you do so. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book, whether it's for games, futures, or player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. So make sure to download the app today. It is available on iOS, Android, as well as on the web. And if you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/edgework. That's betstamp.app/edgework. You can find those in the link to in the description of the show, as well as just type that into your search bar and it'll take you straight there. Signing up through that link does help support us here on the Edgework show, so we do appreciate that. But as Jeremy says here, don't tell Joey Pucks, but the Thursday show is the best show. There you go. Don't tell them across, but if you do agree with that, make sure to hit that like button here on the stream today. Subscribe here to the channel. We recently hit 2,000 subscribers. We'll have a watch along coming up, as well as the one chip challenge that'll probably be tied into that one. So lots of stuff coming up across the channel here. You're not going to want to miss any of that. You're not going to want to miss the best bets. Up 21 units on the season so far, despite yesterday 1-3. Again, we don't need anybody to tell Joey Knish what happened. His was the only winner on the show yesterday. Surprise, surprise. He's taking -200 favorite, but he goes 1-1 on his debut. Takes the Florida Panthers. They beat the Arizona Coyotes pretty handedly there. We go 1-3. But it brings our record to 204, 208, and 5. That's 417 bets for the show and a 5% ROI, giving us 21 units that we are up on the season. So Money, I know that you're excited about what's going on with the fact that I'm the one who has to do the one chip challenge. I know yesterday there was some resistance on the Joey Puck's Winnipeg bet that was given out. Can you take us through what happened there and why it seemed like the entire market disrespected his opinion on that game?
I think that it was bad timing on his part, because what I noticed is that when he gave out the play, there was some Winnipeg news that was coming down the pipe, and just as that was happening, it was just bad timing, right? So I don't, as much as I don't want to give him any leeway or like any, I, yeah, I don't think it was entirely his fault. I think it was just bad timing.
See, I was hoping you were going to say, like, no, we all saw that he was betting on that one. We had to go the other way, disrespect the opinion. We couldn't get behind it. That was what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I mean that would have been easy to say. Like, we did all go the other way, but it wasn't because of him though. It was some news that came down exactly when he was when he was talking about the bet.
Well, Russ, I hope you're holding on to some Nathan MacKinnon Hart Trophy tickets at this point, because the way that this guy's been playing recently has been absolutely insane. 4-goal performance last night. How are you feeling as an Avalanche fan right now?
Yeah, feeling great. They got some of their key pieces back, and MacKinnon is absolutely unreal. He's just on a tear lately. So yeah, happy to see them playing so well. In retrospect, yeah, I should have probably seen that coming against a bad Caps team. Probably should have played on them. Obviously, it's easy to say now, but yeah, they just absolutely dominated from right at the puck drop. So, yep, good. All is well in Avs land right now. They're playing very, very well at a pretty key time. Hopefully, get a bunch of these easy wins going right into the break. So, no, good day of hockey yesterday. We'll say, yeah, Joey Pucks, man. That dude is he's just a million miles a minute. Dude is absolutely shot out of a cannon, but is nothing but entertaining. It. I mean, I was just trying to keep up to everything he was saying. It's like, talking over people and releasing bets and calling in plays and everything. But yeah, as it says, as I think Jeremy says in the chat, yeah, honestly, he probably was on the right side of both of those teams. I saw a ton of people on the Jets yesterday that I follow. I don't think anybody I saw was on the Leafs, and it was a hard fought win in a game that they played tough enough to win, but they probably shouldn't have won that one. So yeah, he was probably on the right side.
All right, well, we got 9 games ahead of us here. We'll break down each one of those. If you guys do have questions about the games, please send them in the chat here, but we'll run through, get Russ and So Money's opinion, see what they've got best bets in, and we're going to start with the New York Islanders heading over to Montreal to take on the Canadiens, where we see the Habs currently sitting plus 132, hosting the Islanders minus 146, a total of 6.5 on books like Pinnacle there, but you're seeing some sixes out there as well right now. Russ, what are your thoughts on this game and where it comes in at side and total?
Yeah, we're going to go back to the well here and lock in that over 6 before it moves. I've been monitoring this back and forth all since yesterday. Yeah, it looks like there's a couple of 6s left. I'd probably go right into that 125 that's at DraftKings. But yes, going back to the well with a New York Islanders over here. They've just been great on the road for overs, 14-7-1 this year for road overs for this team. And recently they have changed their style up a little bit. I think everybody can agree, Patrick Waugh has him playing a little different. Obviously, he wants them to play a lot better defensive. They were one of the worst defensive teams in the league, which is why we've been playing their overs all year. But I think this is a good spot to go back to it. The total probably should be minus 110, 6.5, minus 110 both ways. So we're getting a little bit of value there. And then you're facing a Canadiens team who's just played terrible on defense lately. Looking at the last 15 games, which is the last month or so, they're 32nd in goals against, expected goals against, and 24th in save percentage. I will say Montembeault has been playing a little bit better, and I do expect to see him tonight. But I think this Isles team can really generate some chances and put it on them. And hopefully, it looks like Varlamov is in net for the Isles. So hopefully we get a couple goals from the Canadiens as well and easily get this total over. So, this is it's pretty straightforward. I've got closer to 7 in this total, and if you're going to give me 6 at minus 120, I'll happily take that bet. So over 6 is the way we're going to go to start off the show.
Well, and if you call it What's So Money's analysis as of Patrick Waugh joining this team here, Russ, you might get goalie pulls with 15 minutes left in the third period, which could help you out there as well. So I never know, might have that on your side. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing with betting overs, right? It's like, if we get a 3-3 tie, it gets there. So you only need 6 goals for that win. And then, who knows when these guys are going to start pulling goalies and empty net goals. So that's one of the, those are 2 reasons that I really, really like betting overs, And at Montreal, their defense has just been terrible lately. They've given up 6 to Ottawa, 4 to Ottawa, and then 9 to Boston in their last 3 games. So if the Isles can get to 4 here, even 5, I think we go over this total easily.
Well, So Money, what are your thoughts about the first little portion here of Patrick Waugh's time with the Islanders and what we might see here tonight in this game against the Habs?
I was just laughing at Charles's last comment. That was funny. In terms of Patrick Waugh and the Islanders, I think that he does want to play a little bit more defensively with the Islanders, but I don't really know if he's got the horses right now to do that with the Isles, right? Like, I mean, it's what I always say, right? At this point, you are what you are, right? And the Islanders are not a good defensive team. They're just not a good team overall. Maybe even in that Dallas game that they won, it was a coin flip game, right? They and that Vegas game that they lost, they probably should have won that game, but that's what they've been doing all year, right? This is just who they are. So in terms of this game, Montreal unders was something that we were on for a long time. That has changed. Russ alluded to it, where Montreal, especially recently defensively, they've just gone in the tank. They've just gone in the tank here. So Montreal unders is not something that I'm looking at. I agree with Russ on the overlook, but for me, the price is just where it should be. So on both the sides, I'm not looking to back either team. I think that the Isles are a little inflated here. I mean they're what in the mid minus 140s on the road, but it's also against the Montreal team that is really struggling right now. So I will pass on this game. I think it's over or nothing, but I wanted a little cheaper on the over for me, especially if I'm going to bet the 6.5. So for now, I'll pass on this game.
All right, well, first bet locked in there. We're going to take the over 6 minus 120 between the Islanders and the Habs. We'll recap every bet that's given out throughout the course of the show here today in the BetStamp app. If you do want to see our picks, you want to see how we've done throughout the season, over the last week, the last month. If you want to see how we've done over the last 2 years, you can find that all in the Find Better section there as Edgework HQ. So make sure to check that out. Let's continue to move on here. We do have 8 more games remaining on the schedule. Next up, we have the Ottawa Senators hosting the Boston Bruins tonight. Ottawa plus 123, the Bruins minus 130. We see a total of 6.5. That is all the way across the board right now. So, Money, what are your thoughts on this game here and what we see the price currently sitting at side or total?
So this is another situation with Boston, similar to what we had on the last show on Monday, where I wanted to bet Boston, but just got out of range quickly. So I think that what we're seeing here is that for me, Boston is a play on team right now, but the market is also agreeing with me, and they're moving earlier on Boston. So we'll have to make some adjustments and get try to get in front of the market on that, which we'll do. We'll take care of that. But for now, it's just I do want to bet Boston. I think that, but into the mid minus 130s is a little too expensive for me. So if we do dip into the minus 120s, that's where I will be on Boston. Ottawa, um, Ottawa has, even though they have been playing well. I think that we're stepping up in competition against a Boston team that's going to really start taking off here, and we've been talking about this now for like a couple of weeks now, where Boston is primed to take off. So I think that even though Ottawa is playing well, it's a tough situation for them to match up against Boston here. So if we do see a dip in Boston on the price, then anything under minus 130 is where I'll be betting Boston.
Okay, so not quite there right now. You see minus 130s, but mostly kind of pushing out to that minus 135, 36, even out to 140s on some of these different books here right now. So not quite within range, but Russ, is this something that you might be willing to play on, whether that be side or total?
Yeah, just like somebody said, I think he said some covered some good things in that little segment there. I played the Bruins minus 120 last night. Woke up this morning, it was minus 122. It ticked up a little to 126, and I thought maybe we would have a play. And then, like right before we went on air, it hit up to minus 130, minus 135 at most places, which is probably where I kind of would have it. I was going to suggest around minus 140 to play Boston too, but I think this is getting out of range a little bit for me. But very interesting handicap here, right? Ottawa is like the reverse of the Vancouver Canucks. They've been getting tons of credit love in the market the last few games. And I really just don't understand it. I mean, this team has been decent on the offensive side of the ice, but they're terrible on defense, and their goaltending is just awful. So it does lead me to an over here. I like this over. Again, we played over 6, minus 115, and all of these are, I posted most of these yesterday. But I would still play that over 6.5 at Bet Rivers, and probably right up to minus 105. I could stomach, just because we missed the best of the number yesterday. But yeah, this is two over teams for me. This is two very, very offensive teams. One of the teams is in the Ottawa Senators are very, very bad at defense, and the Boston Bruins are actually dipping quite a bit on defense recently as well. If you watch the show, we have played a ton of Ottawa home overs. They're 14-7-1 to the over at home. And just looking, normally I look at about the last 15 games, the last month or so, to get a read on teams. But if we look at the last 10 games, these teams are second and third in expected goals for. They've just been generating a ton of offensive chances. And then middle of the road in expected goals against, you've got Ottawa all the way down there at 20th in expected goals against, and Boston's actually 22nd, so they're actually a little bit worse. So I do like the over here. That's the way I think we should play it for one unit. And as somebody said, if this does dip a little bit, which I definitely could see it dipping back to minus 125, I would play Boston as well for maybe a half a unit. It's just a weird handicap where I do know of some people that are on Ottawa here, the back-to-back for Boston. But I just can't get to this price, honestly. I've got closer to minus 140, around minus 138 or so on Boston, which was easily a play for me at minus 120. But yeah, it's just a weird thing. Like I'm happy to continue to play against this Ottawa team who's just not very good, and especially if we're going to get Korpisalo in net, who's just complete ass. I mean, they have been 32nd in save percentage, and then you're looking at a Boston team who is second in save percentage the last 15 games. It doesn't matter if probably get Swayman here. Olmark started last night, I believe, so it doesn't matter who you get. Boston has two of the best goalies in net against probably some of the worst goaltenders in net for Ottawa. So that's a huge edge. So simple play here. I'm going to take the over. That's the way I like it. And then if we do dip a little, I wouldn't be mad about playing Boston as well.
All right, so we'll take the over 6.5, minus 102 there. Now for both So Money and Russ, if you're going to see that price dip below minus 130, then that's going to come in within range for either of them. So not going to be an official play here on the show right now, but definitely something to monitor throughout the course of the day here, whether you're watching this back after, if you're watching right now and you're trying to look for some numbers to play on throughout the day, or if you're listening on podcast, then that is some actionable information to take away. Now, we're going to jump ahead a little bit in terms of the schedule here, but we're going to go to Minnesota, where the Wild are hosting the Predators here tonight. We see Minnesota right now minus 111, the Preds plus 105, and a total of 6. So, Money, you've got some thoughts here in this game. What are we looking at tonight?
Yeah, let's play the under 6 here. Up to minus 115. I just don't want to lose that number there. Yeah. So a couple of things here. Nashville, they are starting to have trouble scoring again, which is what we expected, which is what we've been waiting for. They are a team that I've been looking to fade, and we have been ahead of the market there a little bit. So apologies to Moretto. We'll be going against Nashville quite a bit.
Don't apologize to Moretto.
One of his 30 teams here. So Nashville in general is a team that I do want to fade. I don't believe that against Minnesota, fading them is the right opportunity, but we know that they're starting to have trouble scoring again. While they're not terrible defensively. Meanwhile, on the Minnesota front, they have been putting up goals lately, but if you look at the game scores have gone over, but my score in the game has not been over. There's a lot of below average goaltending that they've been facing there as well, which, I mean, it could continue tonight. I don't know, right? But for me, I want to make the bet on a team that I do feel is not as good as the amount of goals that they've been putting up lately. And I'm getting a 6 on a total that for both teams, they do profile as an under team for me. I have concerns about Nashville starting Lankinen in goal. It's possible, even if it does happen, yes, we'll be on a worse price ticket, but I'd rather jump in front of this right now and take my chances with the goaltending as opposed to just wait it out and lose the number that I want right now. So that's the reason why we've locked in the under 6 there.
All right, well, grab the under 6 minus 115. There are a bunch of those widely available. If you shop around, there are a couple like minus 110s, minus 112s, but you do have to have some certain sports books. So if you do want to sign up for those, betstamp.app/edgebrook, make sure to check that out. as well. Before we go over to Russ for his thoughts in this game, less than half the people watching the show right now have hit the like button on this stream right now. So hit the like button while you're waiting. Hit the like button while you're watching. We've given out 3 best bets already through 3 games. I don't know why you would be waiting to like the stream. So smash the like button. We do appreciate all the support. But Russ, we grabbed the under 6 here, minus 115 between Minnesota and Nashville. Do you have any other thoughts on this game?
No, not really. So many summed it up pretty well there. These are 2 under teams for me as well. That's the way I would look to go. As he said, Minnesota has put up a couple of crazy crooked number goals the last few games. But, I'm not sure that is sustainable, especially against a Predators defense who's been top 10 in the league pretty much all year, and especially the last month. Nashville Preds games have gone under the total 5 games in a row. And, I think that's the way I would look here as well. And if we do get Lankin in, he's really hasn't been that bad. Jose Soros has struggled, pretty much all year, and Lankinen has been about the same as far as my numbers go. So I don't think that's a terrible thing if we get Lankinen in net. So that's the way I would look too. I don't have too much to add. I think if you're going to need 7 to lose this bet, I think it's a great bet to take under 6.
All right, well, let's jump back to the 7 o'clock time slot here where we've got the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting Arizona. Tampa minus 200, the Coyotes plus 185, a total of 6.5. We saw a little bit of a whomping last night there down in South Beach with the Arizona Coyotes going up against Joey Puck's Florida Panthers. Now they head on over to Tampa. Russ, what are your thoughts on where this total is currently sitting at and with this number being where it's at right now?
Yeah, I'm the wrong guy to ask here about the Coyotes. I have played against them pretty much all year, and I mean honestly, when they're at home, they are a pretty decent team. They can play scrappy, they can keep things tight, but on the road they've really struggled this year. And I am sort of starting to buy a little bit on this Lightning team who's played a little better recently, and kind of are feeling the pressure, feeling like they need to get things going right into before the All-Star break. So just looking at it from a numbers perspective, I really have no edge. I've got Tampa Bay right around minus 200, and I think that the total may be a touch high, but I could easily see something like we saw last night where Tampa Bay puts up 5 goals. So it's really no play for me on either the side or the total. Gun to my head, if I had to pick, I would probably lay like a Tampa Bay puck line or something like that. But no play for me. I think this is the line. It is lined pretty correctly, and I think Tampa Bay should win this game at home.
So money, are we going to get the second ever and second consecutive minus 200 bet on this show, or are we going to maybe stay away? Do you have any other thoughts on this game or a different way to approach it?
Yeah, I think that I think the line is fair. Tampa Bay is a team that looks like that they're going to become a bet on team here. I don't want to be betting into the minus 200s right now until I see a little bit more from them. But as Russ alluded to here, Arizona is also a team that they are inconsistent on the road. So I think that the number's fair right now. I will pass. I do have a look on the under, especially with Connor Ingram getting the call tonight. I'm pretty sure Tampa still goes back to Vasilevsky, but I think that for now I will pass. If I get a little bit better on the under 6.5, that's the way that I would be looking here.
All right, well, nothing there between the Coyotes and the Tampa Bay Lightning, so we continue to move on where we've got the Red Wings here hosting the Flyers tonight. Detroit minus 120. You see the Flyers plus 110. A total of 6.5 right now. Russ, anything for you here in this game?
Nope, these are 2 teams I have. I kind of have a buy signal on. Both of them are playing pretty well and fighting for that wild card spot. But there's some uncertainty. You've watched this show before. I hate this uncertainty, these variables. You've got Owen Tippett out for Philly for the Flyers, who he's a needle mover, man. He's been playing very well on that top line. So no Tippett tonight, I believe he's out. So that changes things a little bit. And then on the flip side, I think JT Comfort is questionable for the Wings, and I believe Patrick Kane is out. There was some talk about him coming back this game, but they did release their lineup, and he was not in it this morning. So I would trust the lineup that came out. And then you've got the off the field stuff, off the ice stuff with Carter Hart and his leave of absence. He really hasn't been playing great this year. Samuel Ersson has honestly been the better goalie. But how does that affect the locker room stuff? How does it affect their focus? So honestly, I think this number's about right. I have no look. Speaking of my numbers, I've got Detroit at -116, and I've got 6.6 for the total. So there's really no edge either way. I think this is two teams who are rated fairly closely in my rankings, and I think it should be a really close game. Like if you're looking for like an overtime bet, that might be something to look at because they're so similar. But that's probably actually juiced pretty low compared to some of the other ones. So no play for me here. Too many questionable situations and too many variables that I'm happy to stay away on this game.
Is there anything for you here? Some money in this game tonight?
Philadelphia has been taking money in the market right now, and they were last night into early this morning. It makes sense because Detroit was a little bit inflated when they did open. However, we are getting into range where I am showing some interest in the Wings. I still would like a little bit cheaper because I do think that it's going to be it will be a close game, right? So I do want Detroit. Again, this is another. It seems like every game on today's card is something that I'm just saying, just like wait on the price, right? But it's just the way it goes sometimes, right? So I'm waiting for the price to dip a little bit more on the Wings here. If I can get them in around the -113 range, and -113, that is where my strike point is on Detroit. So we'll see if it gets there. For now, I agree with Russ. I think it's fair. It is interesting to note all the Flyers money that has come into the market here early.
Yeah.
All
right. I'm not sure if I agree with that the line move originally. I think the Flyers are kind of they're kind of struggling recently when I look at some of my numbers, and Detroit is playing well, 7-2-1 in their last 10. There is one comment that says maybe Ersson saves. I don't think I would look at that. Detroit actually has not been generating a ton of chances recently, and if you look at the last 15 games, they're actually last in the league in shots for in the last 15 games. So I'm not sure I would look that way. Another comment, the Flyers have been pretty good on the road. That probably explains the money that Philly's getting, that the Flyers are getting.
All right, well, nothing for us there as of right now. And as somebody said, some stuff that you can take away, maybe look for some prices later in the day. We don't force things out there just based on taking plays for the sake of taking plays on the morning show. If they're not there, they're not there. Before we continue on here, we do have a question from Matt and Road here. Matt asking, hi guys, general question. For totals where the price has moved a bit much, do you wait a couple of minutes and take the total live or just leave it alone? Thanks. Give this to you guys here, playing more of these totals and then kind of staying off of stuff, reacting to things throughout the day, and then especially as games get underway. How is it that you approach them?
I think that I would base this on a game by game basis, right? So like, for example, let's say that in the Minnesota Nashville game, for example, right? Like I like the under, but I couldn't get there on the under because of the price, right? So now once the game starts, let's say if there's like an early goal, right? So like now you have to assess that situation, that like, was the early goal a result of like both teams coming out end to end, or was the goal against the flow of play and your read or your analysis of the game was still on? It was just a fluky goal, or like a goal that went in on the team's first shot, and with like the shots being like 2-1 in like 5 minutes into the game or something, right? So like in those situations, you get the early goal, the price that you wanted would come back. So like I would look at it, I would look at that. However, if the early goal in the Minnesota Nashville game came because both teams were like they came out flying end to end, then like you may need to accept that your read on this game was wrong, and so in that situation you probably just want to back off. So I think there's no, for me at least, there's no rule. And like I think in betting too, like one thing that like we get so ingrained with like you must do this in this situation, like there's really no rules, right? There's like, just like in life, it's a whole bunch of gray, right? Like a lot of things here are, it's most things in life are gray and nuanced, right? And like just like betting as well, right? So I think that for me to answer that question, it would strictly come down to a game by game situation for me.
Russ, is there anything different
Yeah.
for you?
No, I think I was just kind of trying to figure this question out a little bit. Admittedly, I don't bet a lot of hockey live. Very very rarely. Sometimes I'll take an underdog if they've given up two easy goals, something like that. But I bet a ton of totals. I bet a ton of overs. And as I've said, before in this show, the majority of these totals lands on seven. As far as actual goals in the game, over 20% of NHL games this year have landed on seven. So I think it depends on, it's a game by game basis, but it's also what number you're getting on this total. Like I have said many times before, I will happily take a over 6.5 up to -130, -135. Where if the total six, or if I'm taking an under, I generally will not do that, just because that number seven is so important in this league, especially if you get a 3-3 tie. Obviously, you get there in many many other ways. So, I think it depends. I guess to answer his question, do you wait a couple minutes or you just leave it? If it is closer to a 6.5, I would just bite the bullet and lay the juice. If you're taking something that's more of an under six, or even like an over 5.5, that has less importance than a 6.5, where you need a total of seven. So I guess my answer would be, it depends on the number, and it certainly depends on which direction you're betting it. If you're going over or under on the total. So it's a little bit of a nuanced thing and a complicated thing, but like so many said, it's game by game. And more so for me, it depends on the exact number that you're playing. If I'm going over six, I have no issue with taking like a plus money over 6.5, or a cheaper or a more expensive six, But if I'm taking that over 6.5, I will try and get 6.5 if I have to pay -135 versus going seven.
And that brings me to addressing Ron's point there about the higher percentage in play, right? That's the other thing that like we need to account for as
Sure.
well, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of situations where you have -120 on both sides, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like that's probably not something that you want to be betting into, right? So like what is being offered to you as well. It's not just the number itself, like the 6.5 or the six or whatever. It's like what you need to pay to get onto that number as well, to take into consideration.
Yep, yeah. The
All right.
sports book hold is a lot higher. The percentage of their hold is a lot higher when you're live betting, certainly.
I'm going to put you guys on the spot here again with another question, another totals question. Samuel Ledbetter saying, how would you price a full game under
Ooh.
6.5 versus regulation time under 6 to avoid a 3-3 overtime loser? I'll leave this in your hands here, guys, to do this. This is obviously going to be a lot more math based, I would assume, than where we kind of were with the last one, where you're going to get into some of those nuances. But so Money Russ, if there's anything that you guys have opinion wise or advice wise here on this.
So this is a really loaded question, because there's a lot of different elements that go into play here. Like if you're looking at the regulation line, that is a completely different kind of calculation than just looking at like the game lines, like the including OT. So I don't do a lot of regulation stuff, and like even if you're looking at the the regulation sides, or like even like the puck lines, like it's a completely different math problem than it is when you're just looking at like the games as well. So I don't have the answer to that question. Um, I've got an idea about how you would model that to get there, but it's not something that I feel confident that I would be able to provide a proper answer for.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, I don't really understand the question. If you're betting under 6.5 or under 6, and you get a 3-3 tie, obviously you lose both of them. So you'd way rather take the plus money under 6.
No, I
Uh,
think he's saying that the total is just for the 60 minutes. So like if
Yeah,
it's 3-3, overtime doesn't count, and you've pushed on the 6
yeah.
and you've
oh,
won the
okay,
six and a
interesting.
half.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have not played a regulation total. I don't think ever. um, but yeah, it's all price sensitive, and this is where having a model, yeah, really comes into play. Obviously, if you have the total, at 5.5 or so, then you're happy taking the under 6 plus money, I believe. So I think it's just price sensitive as far as where you have the model or where you handicap the game, to be scored, basically.
All right, that's fair enough. I saw the questions, thought they were pretty good questions there. We do appreciate people asking, so
Yeah.
thank you very much. And as Jeremy says as well, that's the kind of analysis you can't get from Joey Pucks. That's correct. That's the kind of analysis you don't get on a lot of different hockey shows. That's why you come here every morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday for the Edgeworks Show, breakdowns, analysis, and answering your questions. We do continue to appreciate the support, so thank you very much. A few more games here to get to tonight. Next up, let's look at the Carolina Hurricanes hosting the New Jersey Devils. Carolina minus 155, the Devils plus 140, and a total of 6.5 here yet again. Russ, any thoughts on this game here, sides or total wise?
Nope. Another game where there's quite a few question marks with Michael McLeod and Cal Foote out for the Devils or taking their leave of absence. And we'll soon find out, what that's all about. I think it's only bad news there. But yeah, how does this team react to that? How focused are they on the game at hand? Obviously, Carolina on a back-to-back. My numbers have Carolina right around minus 140, so it certainly is a little bit long on them when you see some of the minus 160s, even minus 165s. I think that number is a little bit long, but yeah, you're getting quite. The Devils have a couple of injuries, and I just saw that they called up a couple of young bucks to fill in these holes from these leave of absences. So I tried to play against the Hurricanes last night. It did not work. So the Hurricanes are just playing very well, despite the fact that their goaltending is poor to say the least. Their defense is good and they're generating lots of chances. So I think a ton of uncertainty in this game, and a little bit of a lean towards the Devils at that price. But I don't want to step in front of the Hurricanes here.
Well, Russ not stepping in front of the Hurricanes so many. Maybe you are interested in doing so.
I've talked about this before, but every Hurricanes game day, right? Like I look at their number. That's a team that I really want to bet every game, right?
Yeah.
I just can't get there because they're where they stand in the market, and then when you incorporate the goaltending that they get, I just can't get there on their numbers, right? So it's unfortunate because I'm really high on this Hurricanes team. They fly under the radar. They've continued to play well for a significant amount of time here, and we're not seeing a dip in their play, right? Like again, forget the game scores, right? Like or like the final scores. Like when I look at their game scores and like where I have these games graded, they're continuing to play at a high level. Um, they just don't get the consistent goaltending, and that's the reason why I just can't get to the kind of numbers that you need to lay on the Hurricanes. So for that reason, again, I'll pass. The Devils. Um, I think I feel I need to message our friend Todd Cordell here and have a nice sit down with him because I don't get this team and like I don't understand anything about the Devils, and I would just like to get a better understanding on them. So for now, I'm just gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on this game. Um, and yeah, it's unfortunate that it's another game that I do like Carolina, and I just can't. I just can't get to the number.
All right, well, let's move on here. We got the Dallas Stars hosting the Anaheim Ducks tonight. Dallas minus 285, the Anaheim Ducks plus 260. Total here yet again at 6.5. But Russ, you did have a look in this game. Where was that, and what might we be betting on here today?
Yeah, we played the over 6.5 here. It looks like actually has bounced down a little bit. Happy to take that plus money number at Pinnacle. It's a little bit of a rogue number, as you see. A lot of the other books are juiced to the over. And usually Pinnacle's pretty sharp, but I have no issue going against the market. Been doing it all season, but yeah, this is we've done a ton of Dallas overs specifically at home. This team continues to just print money on home overs. 19-5 to the over at home. Absolutely unbelievable. They've gone over in 14 of their last 15 games at home. They're generating a ton of chances. This is one of the best offenses in the league. And in steps a Ducks team who can't stop anything. 27th in expected goals allowed. The Ducks have allowed 4 or more goals in 5 of their last 7 games. So I fully expect to see the Stars get to 5 goals or so here. So I just hope that the Ducks do their part and sneak a couple past. And looking at the goaltending situation, hopefully it looks like we'll get John Gibson, who I think is the worst of the 2 goalies there in Anaheim. And kind of a weird situation with Ottinger and Wedgwood. We had expected Ottinger last game or 2 games ago, and then they went to Wedgwood back-to-back. So I'm not sure if Jake Ottinger is still a little bit injured or if he's battling a cold or something like that. But I think either way, it's playable. If we do get Wedgwood, you can expect this total to tick way up and probably closer to minus 120 or so, and that would be a gift. But yeah, that's just more reason to lock in that plus money over 6.5. So that's the way we're going to go. Hopefully, this Dallas overs just keeps treating us well.
Over 6.5 plus 100. We'll grab that there. There are a bunch of minus 103s, minus 105s out there as well. You can see it all the way out to minus 110. So make sure you get the best of the number. So, Money, what are your thoughts on this game?
I have a bet, you guys. I completely agree with Russ. Let's make it a let's make it a double best bet here. On the over 6.5. Anaheim giving up tons again, right? He was just they're just not there defensively anymore. Dallas, especially at home, they're generating a ton, and I think that in this spot, they should be able to name their number. So, yeah, I think the over is a great look here. So I'm with Russ here to make it a double best bet.
Perfect. There you go. Double best bet on the over 6.5 plus 100 in Anaheim, Dallas. A few more games to get to here tonight. Just a couple more on the schedule. And first and foremost, we'll take a look at the Calgary Flames hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets. Calgary minus 179, Columbus plus 170. Total of 6.5 right now. So, Money, what are your thoughts on this game? Do you have another bet here?
No, it's not both of these teams really tough to get involved with right now. Calgary probably a little unlucky loss there against the Blues. I think that they should have pulled that one out. But you're looking at them into the minus 170s, minus 180s. That's you know what, actually, though, I'm just looking at my numbers here. We're looking at Columbus. What's the best price on Columbus here?
Plus 170.
Plus 170. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do half a unit on Columbus.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in. What I'm seeing here too is that Columbus is not playing that poorly. Obviously, they're not a good team, so they're not getting the results that they need. But they're not playing that poorly either. And against the Calgary team that I don't think that the price is justified. So we'll go half on Columbus here.
I almost logged that one for 5 units, so that would have been an exciting night for the Edgeworth team. But half a unit, Columbus plus 170. Russ, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, somebody nailed it. I'm glad that to put a half a unit on this game. I have no idea how the Flames how you get the Flames up to where they're at minus 190 or so. I think that's just crazy for a team that has just been playing terribly. Yeah, 29th in expected goals allowed for the Flames. They just they've been standing on the shoulders of Markstrom, who has been playing pretty well. He's had a good month. But I think the Blue Jackets are scrappy, very scrappy. They played Edmonton tough the other night, and I expect this to be a pretty close game. And if you can keep it within one goal, and you've got plus 170 in your pocket or so, I think that's a fine play. So I lean the same way. I'm happy to lock in that half unit. I just think this number is way too long on Calgary, so I agree.
I might release Columbus plus 175 max big bomb banger later today, so stay aware. Final game of the night here: the Edmonton Oilers hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. And as I saw the comment earlier there from Charles, we just need Joey Pucks to come back here and give us the Oilers minus 500, Chicago plus 475. We see total 6.5 in this one. Russ, what are your thoughts? Is there any way at all that you're going to get involved in this game?
No, I don't think so. This is probably. I think this is one of the longest lines that we've seen all year, and for good reason. Edmonton's been playing really well. They've got that record streak of 17 games in sight, and they could easily get there. So yeah, I don't think there's anything here. Our friend Moretto has been printing on these Edmonton Oilers unders recently, and I honestly I don't think I don't see why you would get off of it here with a Chicago team who can't score, can't generate anything on offense. So you could easily see like Edmonton get to 5 goals in this game, still go under the total. So that's the way I would lean. But no, I've got nothing to lock in here. If I had to play something, I would look at that under 6.5. But
So, Manny, anything for you to lock in here?
Yeah, we did play the under 6.5 here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and do that. Concern here would be could be a night off for Skinner. Obviously, obviously it would be a downgrade, but you look at the game scores for like Edmonton. Like in all my years, like I've never seen this, right? Like even like in like earlier in the season when they weren't getting the results, they weren't playing that poorly defensively. They were just getting bad goaltending, like significantly bad goaltending. And now after they've turned it around, I mean it's game after game where they just don't give up much, right? And
Yeah.
I know if you go through this, if you go through the teams that they've played during this stretch, you can make a case that they really haven't played anybody, um, or they've caught anybody at like at, at like the right time. But you just play who you play on your schedule, and Chicago's another team that. What Edmonton has shown during this run is that they do take care of bad teams, right? And there's no reason to think why they don't take care of Chicago here. We've had a big enough sample size that like Edmonton is not gonna play any differently against Chicago than they have against any other team during this run. So, and we're getting the better Chicago goaltender in goal tonight. So, a team that can't generate, they do give up quite a bit, but they we do get the better goaltender. So at 6.5, I am on the under here as well.
All right, the under 6.5 minus 103. That'll do it for all the games here today. We appreciate everyone who's commented in the chat here. This was a pretty active chat. To the new people who have come over and become regulars here, obviously you got Rich, Tim. Thank you guys for doing that. Finish Flashlight coming on over. Adam here joining into the chat today. Insight as always, Ron. Thank you guys for joining the chat. We appreciate the participation as always. We'll look forward to seeing you guys back here tomorrow. But before we can wrap it up, we've got to recap all the bets that we have here for tonight. First and foremost, we'll look at the Islanders Habs over 6 minus 120. Then we're going to go to the Bruins Senators over 6.5 minus 102. These are full units as well. The Ducks Stars over 6.5 plus 100, another full unit. Preds Wild under 6 minus 115. And then our only half unit play of the night, we're going to take the Columbus Blue Jackets money line plus 170. And then finally, to wrap things up, the Blackhawks Oilers under 6.5 minus 103 for a full unit there as well. So those are our plays. If you do want to see them all, you can head over to the BetStamp app in the Find Better section as Edgework HQ and check those out. Thanks everyone who tuned in here today. We appreciate it. No, Alber, there's no Columbus Chicago minus 1.5 parlays tonight. That is not happening. I'm not letting that happen anymore. Jason, I'm going to have to put him on probation for the locking those plays in. But those are our plays for tonight. We appreciate everyone who watched along here. Everyone who watches back after the fact, thank you guys so much. Everyone on podcast, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Russ, So Money, thank you guys for taking the time to do this here today. We'll see everyone back here tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for more picks and previews. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck on your bets.